Okay, let's see. Welcome. I am Dr. Rema Vassar. I'm running for Michigan State University's Board of Trustees, and we have
Lucius, come back.
That's my husband. This is the problem right here.
What?
My bad.
It's okay.
Wow,
we need everybody
Lucius.
to mute. We love the kids, but
that's my kid. Terrible.
No, it isn't. It makes us real.
I'm looking all disapproving, and it's literally my family. This is just terrible. It's terrible. Welcome. Thank you so much for showing up to this this platform where women are going to speak life into the political campaigns of other women. We just appreciate you coming, all the seasoned veterans coming to bless us with some wisdom and sage advice. We do know that this is our time. This is our time to shine. This is an historic election. And so we want to just make sure that we get all that we can from the people who know how to do this best. And so I want to first make sure that I lift that we have Elizabeth Welch, and she is running for what is it? Supreme Court. And I want to make sure, because she's down ballot, I think you have to flip it over, and I want to make sure that we get her in. She and McCormick are just, we've done a lot together throughout the whole convention, and they're phenomenal. They are really for us, really about equity and access and fairness and justice. And so I would really want to make sure that we get them in. I'm going to turn it over to the moderator for tonight, who's going to introduce our speakers and introduce the people who are posing questions. And that is Alexis Ramsey.
So good evening to everyone. Just want to thank everyone, and on behalf of the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus and Chairman Williams, we would like to thank everyone.
You're on mute, Alexis.
You're on mute.
State Rep Sarah Anthony, we have Mayor Kelly Garrett, and we have State Board of Education member Tiffany Tilley. And then we also will have this evening answering questions will be our women who are new to politics and who's also candidates. Eva Garza DeWalsche, who's Wayne State University Board of Governors, Kesha Hamilton, Jackson Public Schools Board of Education, Brandy Lovelady Mitchell, Grand Rapids Community College Board of Trustees, and Dashuna Robinson, Benton Harbor Area School Board member. And then we also have our host, Dr. Rema Vassar, who's from MSU Board of Trustees, who's also running. So we look forward to a spirited conversation. And I will now turn this back over to Dr. Rema so that she can introduce our Senator, Debbie Stabenow.
Thank you. I'm troubleshooting at the same time. So I appreciate you, Senator Stabenow, for coming. I'm not sure that you know that the day that you and I spoke, my father passed away about an hour after that. And I was really devastated. And I was in the room with him, and I thought, let me remember that he would be proud of me, but also let me remember all the charges that you gave me that day. And really, that was kind of the spirit for today's event, that you spoke life into me, but you also spoke life into the charge, the reason to actually go out here and run. And so, and the one thing that you told me that stuck with me throughout the campaign, because I thought about giving up, like, you know what, this is just too much. But the one thing that really stuck out to me was you kept saying, ask for money. So you kept saying you need to ask for money. And so I wanted to ask you, after you give a brief introduction of how bomb you are, which, I mean, most people already know, but she's super, 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 super bomb. She's been a She made history in 2000 when she became the first woman from Michigan elected to the United States Senate. She's a powerful, effective voice for equality, economic opportunity, social justice. She's a national leader in the effort to make sure people have quality health care, including mental health and addiction treatment and affordable prescription drugs. She's defended our air, our land, and especially our Great Lakes against President Trump's attacks. She's a forceful advocate on behalf of civil rights, sponsoring legislation against hate crimes and racial profiling, which we need right now, and championing the Justice in Policing Act. And so she believes that everyone should have safe housing, good schools for their children, and access to a job that pays enough to support a family. And she's sponsoring the Economic Justice Act as a ranking member of the Senate Agricultural Committee. And she's a leader in protecting and strengthening food assistance and child nutrition initiatives so that more families have access to healthy foods. So we're super excited to have you here. And I would just want to ask you about your strategies. What has helped you in your career, in your experiences with fundraising, to ask for financial support with confidence? Is there a strategy that you execute, a philosophy you follow? We'll listen with all of our ears, and I'm going to take notes.
Well, first of all, Dr. Rema, I am so thrilled that you are running. You are part of our ticket. You will do a wonderful job. I was really honored to have a chance to reach out to you and encourage you to do that. And I did not know about your father and what a tough time, but I'm sure he's very, very proud of you in your courage and your leadership and being willing to step up in public service is not easy. It's not easy for any of us. And so before answering this, I just want to thank everybody who has been stepping up. I want to thank my awesome colleague, Rashida Tliab, and I believe that Brenda Lawrence, my other wonderful, awesome colleague, the leader in the House, I believe is going to be joining tonight, as well as so many other people. You know, for good or for bad, I have been in public service for a lot of years, and back when it was even tougher than it feels like today, when there were very few of us. When I ran for the state house, I ran to be the sixth in the state house, 0 in the Senate, 0 statewide. And by the way, they had at the time a special committee called the Constitutional Visions and Women's Rights Committee, where the speaker wanted to put all the women, kind of put all the women over here, and then we'll go out and do our business. And I had been chair of the Ingham County Board of Commissioners. I had been overseeing the road commission and built a jail and cleaned up Lake Lansing and all of this. And so I refused to be on that committee. I said, I want to be on the committee that represents all the things that people in my district care about. So not long after that, they did away with the committee. But so I have seen a lot, and I can tell you, while it's an honor to have been a first, as many of us have over and over again, the first woman to chair, preside over the state house, actually the first woman to beat an incumbent United States Senator in 2000. It doesn't matter unless there's a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth. Otherwise, it's called a token. And so it's not enough. Power and impact comes from having many, many, many women, which is why when we look at what's happening right now in state government, when you look at this pandemic, when you look at what has happened, the assaults and literally what we've seen today, the threats against the governor, when we look at our incredible Attorney General who has stepped up, and our Secretary of State, when we look at the members of Congress and so on, we are coming into our own and taking our place and not waiting to be asked. When I first ran, I was asked to run. And now women are stepping up and running because they want to be a part of the solution. And so for everybody on the call tonight, thank you for doing that. It's not easy, but my goodness, if there ever was a moment ever that affects all of us, it's this moment. It is this moment, and we need to be determined, and we need, as my dear friend Kamala Harris said last night, if they start talking over you, you just say, excuse me, I'm talking, And so Colin and I were texting afterwards, and I said to her, I bet you wanted to punch him out. Probably good idea that you didn't. And she laughed. She said, yeah, it kind of felt like it, you know. But the truth of the matter is we got to keep standing up and keep talking and make our voices heard. So on the money, first I would say on fundraising, which is always the hardest thing to get into, Rema, it's practice, practice, practice. I remember the first time, you know, that I asked somebody to contribute $25 and it was really hard. And the first time I asked somebody to contribute $100, and then the first time I asked somebody to contribute $1,000, and now I ask for people to contribute multiple thousands of dollars to help in multiple ways for the Senate and the party and other things. It's a matter of really understanding this isn't about asking for yourself. It's about asking people to invest in what you jointly believe in. Your ideas, your values, your hard work, to invest in someone that will work for them. That's what it is. It's not about just putting money in your pocket, right? No matter how Donald Trump operates or the Republicans operate. It's about asking people to join with you, to invest in your ability to be able to give voice to what they care about and to be able to stand up for them. So it's like anything else in our lives, fundraising takes organization, organize. It takes some courage to get on the phone. It takes some courage to ask. But once you start doing it, it's okay. You get used to that. And it's okay if somebody says no, or they say, gosh, I can't afford to do that. I think that's okay. But then you just go on to the next person and ask them to support you as well. So in order to communicate, you have to have resources. We now have a world of virtual communication where we certainly have capacity through with tweets and Facebook and Instagram and all of the other ways to communicate as well. But we need dollars to do that. And as women, we need to believe in ourselves enough to believe that we're worth investing in, that your ideas, that who you are, and the dedication and commitment and hard work that you bring to the job you are seeking is worth other people investing in, because it is. So just go do it.
That is awesome. That idea of making sure that we're asking people to invest in the work that we're going to be doing. And I think that makes it easier a little bit to ask for money.
You just have to do it, Reba. It's hard. It's hard, but then you do it and then it's okay. And then
we're because we're raised independent women, right? That's the reason why we came to this space. We're independent, we're powerful, we can do it. And then to ask for money just seems counterintuitive sometimes. And so I really appreciated that we're asking them to invest in the leadership that we're going to bring, and that we're certainly bringing great ideas that are worth it. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And I know you have to run. I just appreciate you blessing us with your time. And I want to make sure we take a quick picture. Okay, I'm ready. Everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And it's wonderful to be with you. I have to tell you, I am Zooming all over the state tonight. We have this awesome One Campaign for Michigan and regions all over the state, and they're recruiting people for Get Out the Vote efforts. And so I am literally Zooming multiple different calls this evening to encourage people to get engaged. So I would just leave you. Thank you for believing in yourself. We believe in you. Just stand up, don't agonize, organize, stand up, and we're gonna take back the country.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna move on back to Alexis Ramsey. I'm trying to get Senator Brenda Lawrence in here, so I think we have to come back to her.
Okay, perfect. So next, to keep the program going, we will next have Kesha Hamilton, who will now talk to my representative who represents my district, who I know is a fighter, Congresswoman Rashida Tliab. Always on the ground, always available. Anytime you call, she's there. So I would like to now introduce our Congresswoman Rashida Tliab for the 13th Congressional District, as well as Kesha Hamilton, who will now be asking our Congresswoman some questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and it's an honor.
Congresswoman, you're
sorry.
muted. Yeah, we're gonna have the Congresswoman speak first, and then we will have you go into your part, Ms. Kesha.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
Kesha, go ahead. I think you can go forward. I mean, I do want to everyone to know this vision from Dr. Rema is, really powerful. I think I was just telling her to see all the beautiful women and faces on that flyer. You never see, especially women of color, coming together and organizing and supporting and uplifting each other. And it's inspiring. We're also teaching our young girls, this is how you do it. This is how you bring people with you. And so I can't thank her enough for doing this. And I'm so excited to be voting for more women on the ballot this year than ever. Just super excited for all the courage, because it takes so much courage for all of us to put ourselves out there. And I think, Senator Stabenow is right. I think it took about 7 different people to convince me to run for office. I think Mayor Garrett will tell you the same. I mean, we're always seeking and waiting until somebody asks us. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. We're just not the kind of people that get up in the morning from bed, waking up in the morning and kind of look around and say we want to run for office. I like that we're much more thoughtful and that we're waiting to feel needed, that the moment that we're needed. And then we take on that leadership. And yes, when we ask for money, and it was a mentor that told me this, she's like, you're asking for your community. Your community needs you. You need to go in there and fight. You're not going to sell them out. So you're asking for your community. And so, and it doesn't get easier. I don't care how many times you do it to ask for money. And you have to do it. And sometimes you can get other people, Dr. Rema, to ask for you. I've done that where I'm like, oh, can you call 5 other people and ask them for $25? That's what we've been doing. So, but Kesha, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm really excited to have a conversation with you.
So I am super excited about being able to address one of my favorite Congresswomen from Michigan. So I'm a student of the law, and watching the squad form in 2018 was just absolutely amazing for me and to me. And I think a lot of women of color probably feel the same way. Anyway, so my decision to go into politics, and this is my first time running, and I think it might mirror a lot of us. We see a need, we see something that's wrong, and we want to change it, we want to fix it. So that's really why I'm running. I want to fix, what I see as a need that I feel like I can feel. But some of the things, or one of the things I think that's most difficult for me, or that I find to be a challenge, is separating the person from the policy. So, when I'm seeing a person who's advancing a policy that I think is a crime against humanity, it's difficult for me to, try to figure out a balance between, person and policy. So I'm trying to understand how to separate, this person from the policy that I feel like is really damaging, so that we can continue to work together on other things possible.
I think you can't separate it. And I'll tell you why. This is my first term in the United States Congress, and no fault of their own, many of my colleagues have become so numb and become very transactional, where a lot of these policies are so personal for our neighbors, for our residents at home. And so you can't separate it. And I'll tell you this, Kesha, and you understand this, and many of us mothers, if you're a mom, you know what this is. When you walk into a room, you're not a Democrat, Republican, a Congress member, a school board member, you're a mom first. It's like this shift happens, that's who you are. I don't care if it's fighting for clean air, fighting against poverty, fighting against police brutality, whatever it is, we come with that lens. That's what makes us so different from the others, is that we don't separate it. We understand what the human impact is. And you're religious or not, but I feel like God made women so incredibly different in how we see the world and see things. We feel differently, we talk differently. There is something spectacular about that. And you hear so many people all of a sudden, especially with the squad, saying, I feel connected somehow now to Congress, because I see so much of me and you being unapologetic, being passionate, and yes, sometimes angry about things that need to be fixed, and no one's moving with the sense of urgency that so many people are desiring right now. And so, Kesha, I would venture not to. I would venture that you have to be careful not to, I know for me, I can get so exhausted and so drained because it's so personal for me. And I know if I can't get clean air and clean water for my residents soon, more and more are going to go through, and it is trauma. It is trauma to live with dirty air and dirty water. It's traumatic. And, you know, I'm going to have a generation of children in my district that don't understand, like their water fountains in their schools are literally covered up, right? And it's contaminated with lead. Like, I don't want our kids, I want them to see clean water coming out of those fountains and for them to breathe clean air. And so you can't, because that's what makes us uniquely special. That's why people vote for us, is because we don't separate it. We don't become numb. We move with a sense of urgency and this connection that people understand that it is real life that is impacted by the policy.
Thank you. That comforts me because I've been trying to be inhuman, I think, in separating the two. I'm just like, I don't know how. Thank you.
Am I supposed to go the next person, Alexis?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm sorry. I was having a little technical difficulties on this end. Next, we're going to move on is Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence on the line. Has she made it on the line yet?
No, I'm trying to get her on.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll keep it moving, and we're going to move on to State Representative Sarah Anthony and Dashuna Robinson. You're on.
Yes, ma'am. So my question for the lovely Miss Anthony is, which strategy has helped you work most effectively across political lines to produce the outcomes that our community needs and deserves?
Well, first of all, thank you, Dr. Rema, as the Congresswoman Rashida mentioned, this is visionary. This is revolutionary, right? I mean, it is a beautiful day in Michigan, and you have nearly 50 women on, as well as probably hundreds that are viewing on Facebook in front of a laptop, listening and gleaning best practices and advice from other women. This is amazing. So just thank you. And if you saw me kind of smiling earlier, it's because I was complimenting someone, Ms. Robinson, on her hair because it's just goals. I mean, like, let's just be honest with you. So it's just beautiful. But thank you, Dr. Rema, and thank you for the opportunity. And just a shout out, in the Michigan House of Representatives, we have reached gender parity, and which is amazing, right? So it's something that in the Senate, we reached it as well. And so we have made so many strides. When you hear Senator Stabenow talking about counting on both hands how many women were in the halls of power, we have come such a way. And I think that we are transitioning from just being at the table, because we know that once we get a quote unquote seat at the table, they just build more tables, right? But also flipping the tables over and then starting from scratch. I think that's where we are now. But I'm just excited to be on. In terms of finding ways to work across the aisle, because I think that in many of our positions that are partisan, this is the key. This is the secret sauce. I asked one of my mentors early on, before I became a representative, you know, she asked me, what type of legislator do you want to be? Do you want to be one that raises the issues and changes the conversation, as always in the press, and changing the narrative? Or do you want to be an effective policymaker? And I said, I don't want to choose. I kind of want to do both. But I always want to be anchored in effective policymaking. I want to be able to go back to my community and say, I got something done. And the House of Representatives is a very unique place because we have term limits. So the maximum amount of time that I can serve my community in the House is 6 years. And so you really have to build strong relationships across the aisle, because you don't have, like in Congress, you don't have 20, 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60 years in order to serve. It is time bound. And I will never go back to my community and say, I changed the narrative. That's what I did for you. That's what I delivered for you. I want to go back and say, I was able to move legislation that fundamentally changed the lives of people in my community. I lifted people up. I helped to create an environment that actually bridged the gap for people, that actually lifted folks up. And if I go before my constituents and I haven't done that, I've missed the mark. And so because of just the nature of the composition of the House of Representatives right now, and really both chambers. So we have a Republican-led House and Senate. Compromise is the name of the game. And one of my favorite books that I read like annually is The Audacity of Hope by Barack Obama.
Mhm.
Because it's an oldie but goodie, but it has always steered me in a place that helps me identify what we have in common, not what is dividing us. I feel like that's not helpful. It's helpful for fundraising calls about, they're doing this to us. It's helpful for igniting the base, igniting people around an issue, but it's not helpful when you're on the House floor and you're fighting for an appropriation for your community. And you're fighting for more healthcare, more job opportunities, stronger education for your community. That's not helpful. And so I am meticulous at identifying what I have in common with my Republican colleagues. I know that when it comes time to conversations around reproductive rights, right? Or the Second Amendment, or just a variety of tax policy, there's some things we're just never gonna jam on. But we can jam on certain things like educational opportunities, right? Job opportunities, apprenticeships, making sure that there's a pathway from poverty to prosperity. And so I literally sit down with people, some in which we have nothing ideologically in common, and I dig for it. There was one person, I think they were rated one of the most conservative people in the legislature, and I was digging, right? I was digging. What do you think about clean water? It's like, well, all of us already have clean water. I said, so you've never heard of Flint. Okay. And you, okay. All right, can't go there. Finally, I just said, well, you like air, right? You like to breathe air. We can start there. Air? Let's talk about air. And it became a joke, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to find something in common. For some of my conservative colleagues, it's our shared belief. It's our faith in something higher than us. We can actually have prayer meetings together in which we build a relationship in that way. And so I just believe that a strategy to work across the aisle is taking off your ego, taking off the you in the equation, and always remember that you're fighting for hundreds, sometimes thousands of people back home that requires you to find common ground. Because at the end of the day, when it becomes just about you and all the things that you have going on, you've completely missed the mark. And I believe you no longer deserve that seat at the table. And for those of us who, like me, that absolutely struggle with imposter syndrome and feel just inherently uncomfortable in many of these spaces, the only thing that gets me through is thinking about the people back home that I'm fighting for. And so if nothing else gives you that fire in your belly and makes you drag yourself across the aisle with somebody that you don't agree with, think about the people back home that are counting on you to lift up your voice and find that common ground.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Rep. Anthony. Truly appreciate your words of wisdom. And next we will have our esteemed Mayor, Kelly Garrett, who will now.
You hit the mute again, Alexis.
As I said, I'm having some technical difficulties on this end. So Mayor Kelly, if you don't mind, do a brief introduction of who you are and what you do, and then Ms. DeWalsche will go into her question.
Okay, I'm Kelly Garrett. I am the mayor of Lathrop Village. It's the city that's inside of Southfield, probably one of our smaller cities in southeastern Michigan. I've been the mayor going on, this is my second term, so I'm going on 3 years, but I've been on council for 10 years. The one thing that I wanted to just introduce with me is the fact that I absolutely love what I do because I believe in being a public servant. I'm a public servant that doesn't get paid, and I've been doing this for 10 years, no type of compensation whatsoever, because I feel as though, number one, not only you don't get it, but it's also the fact is I'm here because I care about the city, I care about this county, and I care about this state. So when you look at someone who is a servant, or you look up the definition of a servant, understand you're now what that means to be a public servant. You serve the people, you work for the people, they don't work for you. Sorry, tangent. Is there a question for me?
Yes, I'm the one that's supposed to ask it, but I don't know if she was talking. I actually had a couple of questions, so it's really going to be hard for me to choose the one that I want to ask. But before I ask my question, I want to say hello to Commissioner William Davis from the Police Commission. Nice to see you, a former colleague of mine. So I guess I'll ask this question because I'm often asked this question on a lot of the interviews and different, media that are contacting me about my race. What life experiences do you think provided you with the skills that you needed to be successful in politics today or in your career?
So I'm 5'2", and I've always been the smallest person in my class at my job. And I've always, how do you say you walk with a big stick? So that was, that's the first thing. But I have been a leader in a Fortune 500 company. I have a background in volunteering for a lot of different organizations. And I do come from a family that has been in politics for as long as I can remember. I remember being young and me and my cousins having to be out on 7 Mile and actually stapling posters up, campaign signs up on the light post. So that's how long I've been in politics. And I think that you have to have a heart for the people to be in politics. If this is where you're trying to get rich, this is the wrong place to be. If this is where you're trying to make lifelong friends, I can't say that's the place either, because there are no long-term friends and no long-term enemies. And I remember when somebody first told me that, it hurt my feelings so bad. But let me tell you, baby, 10 years later, I totally understand what that means. So, but I also am a person that, I've learned over my many years of life that you just don't take things as personal. You fight for the people that, as my uncle has said, as my family says, you fight for the least of these. By the grace of God, I am here and I am able to provide for my family, and I've had a good life, and I'm supposed to do that to the next person. I am supposed to be my sister's keeper and pull her up. I am supposed to be the person that is supposed to make your life better because I'm in this seat. So that's how I've always just conducted my life. And so I think that that was part of the reason why I'm ready for this position. Plus, I think Rep. Anthony said it when she said about throwing over the tables. I think of it in a different way. I think that sometimes you do have to throw over a table and walk out the room to prove a point. So I am a fighter also, because if you're not doing what you're supposed to, I will be the person to let you know that you're not. And so don't let the smooth taste fool you, is what I tell a lot of people. I might be small, but she's mighty.
Thank you, Mayor.
You are very welcome.
And thank you to Mayor Kelly. Small but mighty, that's how we move, right? Next, we will have board member, state board member, Tiffany Tilley. And Tiffany, if you would like to do a brief introduction, and then we'll go into your questions.
I was elected to the state board in 2018. I am also your national representative. I am the NASB rep on the board. I've been in politics a long time. Started out at the Election Commission, Detroit Election Commission, worked for the city clerk, Jackie Curry. My stepmother was the director of elections, Gloria Williams, and I was in college and I had my interest re-sparked in politics, and I wanted to learn more about it. Political science just, and it's something I was always interested in as a little kid, but political science just re-sparked my interest. And I was doing things as a community activist and wanted to get more into politics. And it was a great way for me to get groomed and learn, because there were so many elected officials or former elected officials that worked there at the time. And it was old school politics. So I came in learning a lot of that old school, and it's so long ago and things have transitioned so much. I was elected during the Year of the Woman, which is awesome. But things have changed so much. It's kind of looking back and thinking like, I remember when it was rotary phones and black and white TVs growing up versus technology now. That's kind of how it feels in politics for me.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What has been the most helpful in maintaining your confidence and sense of belonging in a male-dominated field?
Well, for me, you know, when I came in, sometimes I would be the only female in the room or very few females in the room. And you look around and you notice that. But for me, I was a tomboy. So I didn't have an issue with that part of it. It was more so, you know, that time in politics, it was still the old guard. So it was a lot of, basically, you have to go to the men to ask for anything, like our US Senator was talking about. People asked you to get into politics, or people, you know, you had to wait for somebody to give you permission. Now we're in a time where you don't have to wait for permission, and which is a beautiful thing. But I use that time to build myself. So I use that time to go to school. I use that time to build my career. And my career, you know, I've done numerous things. Right now, in addition to being on the state board, I'm the executive director of a nonprofit here in Southfield. I'm the director of community and economic development for Highland Park. I've been the communications director for the Central Business District in my 20s. So, you know, and of course, there were a lot of men in that area, but I think just building myself, learning who I am, understanding who I am, learning that I had to build a thicker skin, because in this arena, you do have to have a thick skin. Kelly kind of alluded to the fact that there are no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, only common interests. That's kind of a political law. That's something that I don't live by personally. I believe in friendship, and you know that's how I was raised. You know, my family, my experience has been I've gained a lot of good friends in politics. Not everybody, but I've gained some awesome friends. When you've been in it so long and you've been in the trenches with people, you break bread with people, you laugh with people, you cry with people, and then you go out and you try to fight for some good causes with people. And so you build those relationships and you build those bonds. And then you have to look at people for who they are. And when you understand who they are and how they move and how they operate, and if they're not being a good friend, you just leave them where they are and realize that, hey, this is somebody that's good for, you know, a particular movement, and we're going to fight for that. And then I'm going to leave them there, male or female.
I see your mouth moving. I told you I'm having some technical difficulties on this end. So I can't really hear anyone at this time, but I'm going to toss this back to Dr. Rema. And I just want to tell everyone that's on the line, wait, real quick, has Congresswoman Lawrence made it on the line?
She has. I want to make sure she has access.
All right, I'm back hearing you now.
Oh, good. Congresswoman, have you made it? Oh, I feel so bad.
Okay.
She's muted. So, I'm gonna continue to work on that. But Alexis, there are some questions in the chat. If we have time while the Congresswoman is getting all situated, I think we could ask a couple of questions.
Okay.
Oh, here she is. Okay, let me.
All right, perfect.
Yay! I'm glad you made it.
We would like to welcome Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence on the line, and then we will have Brandy Lovelady Mitchell, who will also be having this conversation with Congresswoman Lawrence. But Congresswoman Lawrence, is on you. Would you please do a brief introduction, and then you guys will have your conversation with Dr. Mitchell.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You can introduce yourself briefly, and then we'll have a question that will be posed to you.
Hello, this is Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, proudly representing Michigan's 14th District. Just to let you know, I'm a proud Delta Sigma Theta woman. I have the pleasure of having over 30 years in elected office, starting out on school board, served there, and then went to city council and served as president of city council, and went from there to mayor, served 14 years as the mayor of the city of Southfield, and now representing in Congress the 14th Congressional District.
You do so many amazing things and even find time to pour into women in particular. So we are grateful that we have this time with you. The question that we want to lift up right now is, given what you now know, what do you wish you knew when you were first starting out? What insight do you wish you had when you were first starting out that you might impart on us today?
And I share this a lot when I talk to women. The most powerful thing that happened, I found my voice. When I began politics, my children were in school and I was active in the PTA. And I wanted some things to change. And every time I tried to change them, I would have to go to this board. And out of frustration one day, I said, I want to be on that board. I'm sick of this. And someone said, well, run for it. I said, what do you mean? I said, run for office. And during that process of learning politics, because I knew nothing about it, I was often hesitant to speak up. I was also hesitant of like, what's going to happen if I say this? How are people going to react? But it's the journey that most women go on, finding your voice. And when you find your voice, you find your power. And what does that mean, finding your voice? That means you speak truth. You believe it, you know it, your hard work. You have been exposed to it. And you know what? If someone's uncomfortable, they should be, because you're talking truth. You put truth, you're speaking truth to power. And so often I'll see women just minimize themselves when they could just stand up and use their power and their voice. They could just transform the situation. And that's the thing, that if I had my voice when I first started this, I might be running for president. It was a journey. It was a journey. And, I love Shirley Chisholm's Unbossed and Unbought. It's a journey to get there, because it's not easy and people will not like you. I learned that this journey in politics is not about someone liking you. It's about them respecting you and know that you are consistently passionate, educated in the issues, and that you're going to speak truth. And you know what? There are times when, as hard as you work and as much as you believe in something, you're going to have to step back and say, you know what? I could have done that differently. Or you might have to say thank you to someone who corrected you. And be okay with that, because your intent is never to hurt. Your intent is never to destroy. Your intent is to build up. And so I said, I wish I had found my voice earlier. And when I found my voice, I found my power.
Amen. Thank you so much for that. I mean, I have chills. I have chills. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for persevering. I'm sorry that we were having technical difficulties. I'm just glad you gave us time. I know you have another event for the illustrious sorors
Yes.
of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So I won't keep you because your event starts at 7, and I know you have to jam onto that. But I
Yes.
just appreciate you blessing us and all the women on this call who have shown up and shown out in miraculous ways and against all odds to pave a way for the people who are coming alongside of you and to work with you and to lead and learn with you and for you. So I just appreciate everyone here for this time together. I do urge you to do a couple of things. One, to go and vote. I think that, this is a critical election and we have a lot at stake, and we really don't have any opportunity to sit this one out. Not just to vote for yourself in person, but also to bring other people along, because I've been out here canvassing. A lot of people have done absentee ballots. I'm grateful for that, but there are some people who are still thinking that we have it. No, we ain't got it. We all need to come out here and make it happen. And so there are some education board seats that I want to lift up. Eva is running for Wayne State. Shirley Stancato is running for Wayne State. Shauna Ryder Diggs is running for University of Michigan. And Ellen Lipton is running for the state board. And we have judges Elizabeth Welch and Bridget McCormick who really need our vote. And I don't say anyone's name lightly. I really believe that this is our time to make change. I'm about transformative change. And if we know anything, we know that women are about that life. Nothing happens without us, and everything happens because of us. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say before I jump off, I want women to know that there are more women voters than there are men. And if we truly want to change things, if we truly want to put representation of not only just women, but women who are prepared and ready to run like Dr. Rema, then go out and vote and get all the women. In my district, in the 14th district, 60% of the voters are women. And there's more women in America than there are men. So we are about the business, and please support, vote safely, however you want to vote, absentee, in the mail. I'm going to the poll is something righteous for me. I will be at the polls on election day, but I want everyone to know that we can do this and put leadership in places that will make a difference. God bless you all. Be safe, and I have to go. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's about us. And I want to thank the Michigan Black Caucus for having us and hosting us, and for Alexis Ramsey, who puts in a lot of work behind the scenes. And I know she doesn't like to be lifted, but I watch women. I watch us work, and I watch us not get a lot of recognition. I watch us not get a lot of, thanks, but every movement would not happen without a Black woman, particularly our civil rights movement behind it. And so Alexis Ramsey, I just wanted to make sure that she moderated this and she graciously hosted us. And I just appreciate you for that. And I appreciate Dr. Griffin, who works at MDE, for being the hostess with the mostest behind Blackened people, mutant people, making sure we stay safe in this Zoom area. And for all the women who are running, I want us all to win. Please keep in touch and let us know how we can support one another, because we win together. And for all the seasoned folks who took time out of their busy schedules, because a lot of those folks are out still running, to come and educate us. I do believe that we change the whole world through education, and this is really what I'm about. This idea that women help women and that we all learn together. And as the Congresswoman said, the more that we enter, it's each one teach one, each one reach one, each one bring one, right? We all have to get these positions and then put all the bomb women on, put all of them on, just put them all on. So I thank you. I appreciate you for coming this evening. If you have any closing remarks, please put those in the chat. If all those people who are running, I would encourage you to put in the chat your campaign information, ways for people to donate, and then get out and vote. Alexis, you wanted to close us out?
Yes, so I just want to thank everyone who participated on the line, all of our guests who also participated on the line. I want to encourage every woman on this line to continue on, continue fighting, continue doing the things that we do on a daily basis in order to move not only our communities forward, but this nation forward, as well as our homes forward. So again, thank you to all of our esteemed panelists. Stabenow, Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, Congresswoman Rashida Tliab, also State Rep Anthony, Mayor Kelly Garrett, and State Board of Education Tiffany Tilley. And as the first appointed Vice Chair of the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus, and I'm the youngest ever appointed, it is truly an honor. And I want to thank again our Chairman, Mr. Keith D. Williams, for his leadership and how he continues to move this caucus forward. And we look forward to everyone getting out to vote for the 2020 election. This is one of the most important elections we will ever have in our lifetime. And if you don't mind, take your neighbor, take your friends.
I just do have one more request. I need to take your picture.
Everyone out.
Everyone out. So put your camera on if you can. I know some of us don't want to do that, but
again, like I said, I'm having technical difficulties on this end. I just want to thank everyone. Everyone on here rocks, and let's get out here and rock this election for 2020.
Amen. So I want you to look right at your camera. Don't look at yourself. Don't look at me, because then you get. And so just look straight at your camera. Give your best. I'll count us down so that you're not surprised. Okay, 1, and I gotta take 2. So be ready for 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next one. Oh, Tiffany, come on. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. And 1, 2, 3. Thank you all. Have a great night. Get engaged.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And I'm trying to write down these fundraising links.
Thank you.
I'll make sure everyone gets the links. And Kesha had a bomb commercial. She's out here raising all the money. She had a commercial and everything. I said, look at her.
You trying?
No, you're doing it.
I feel like they need me on the board here, so I'm doing everything.
We do.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna download the chat too, so when you get this file, you'll get all of those. Mayor, you'll get the video and the
I'm
file.
sorry so much. I got 3 computers going on right now, so I have no idea what is ringing right now. And
no, it's fine.
Say goodbye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming so much, and your comments too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm trying to answer this.
Okay, Dr. Rema, I'm back.
Hey.
I don't know what's going on this end. It keeps knocking me out on the mute.
I don't know either.
Yeah, it just kept saying mute, 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 mute. So, do you want to go ahead and end the call, or what do you want to do now?
So it's soon, I want to make sure I download this chat file.
Okay, all right. Let me know when you have it downloaded.
I think did you already take back the post?
Let me see. Let me put you back on here. Hold on one second. Okay, there you go. There
Okay.
you go.
Okay, let me see if I can do it then. Well, we didn't get bombed.
No, we didn't.
We did.
I think when I changed over some stuff, trying to make sure we didn't get bombed, it kind of threw me off a little bit.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, no, I think a couple people were having a hard time getting in. Oh, let me see. West Coast 120. It's not letting me do my situation.
Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, we still have a couple people still on. So just FYI, we still got a couple people in the room.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I get these people. A couple of people wanted to get the transcript so that not the transcript, the video, so that they can write a story, which is going to be good.
Yeah, I told her to send it over to Jill. I couldn't the one from Wayne State or something like that, right?
Oh, so you know what I think what happened?
What?
When someone gets removed, because there were some people who were sitting there, but they didn't put their phone number in.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you don't put your phone number in, Jill just kicks you out. Right. And so Jill just kicked them out because they never put their phone number in.
And
but
then,
once you do that though, they can't re-enter.
Yeah, I had it that way because I didn't know, we were just trying to make sure it was tight. Nothing happened. So
that's fine. But now I know why the Congresswoman couldn't get back in, because she got kicked out because her number.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But that's fine. I mean, it all worked out. It always works out.
It did, and I think it went extremely well. I think everybody was happy. The most I could hear, because I promise you, it was just like I could see mouths moving, but I couldn't hear anything.
What happened? I wonder.
It just kept saying it's muted, or you're in progress, but you're muted. So I kept trying to unmute it, and I don't know. So it must have been something I did on this end.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it went awesomely. I think the women spoke with bravery, but I didn't catch some of it because I was trying to get the Congresswoman on, so I couldn't really do both at the same time. But I think what I heard, they were giving gems and keeping it real, the things that I like. What do you think?
What I heard, I think they were giving a lot of good gems. I think that